Most people spend more time deciding what to watch on Netflix than they spend managing their money. Today, we are building a payday system that takes 10 minutes to set up and then runs on autopilot, handling your savings, your investments, and your bills without you having to think about it again. I'm Max of Monkey Money, and here's how it works. The reason most personal finance advice fails is that it relies on you making the right decision every single month. Manually transferring money to savings requires you to be disciplined every payday when you are tired, when a bill just hit, and when there is something you want to buy. That is a system designed to fail. Automation is the fix. When your finances are automated, the right decisions happen, whether you are in a great financial mindset or a terrible one. The money moves before you can talk yourself out of it. Consistency beats discipline every time, and automation is how you get consistency without needing discipline. The 10-minute payday system is built on a single principle. Every dollar gets a job the moment your paycheck arrives. Not at the end of the month, not when you get around to it. The moment the money hits your account, it is already on its way to where it needs to go. The foundation of the system is a 3-account structure, and this is the setup that takes most of the 10 minutes. Once it is built, it runs itself. Here's how it works. Account 1 is your income account. This is the account your paycheck lands in. The separation of accounts is not just an organizational strategy, it is a psychological one. When your savings are in the same account as your spending money, every purchase decision is implicitly competing with your wealth-building goals. When they are in separate accounts at separate banks, that friction disappears. The savings are simply not available to spend, and your brain stops treating them as spending money. Its only job is to receive your income and immediately distribute it. It is not a spending account, it is a routing account. Account 2 is your bills account. A fixed automatic transfer moves from account 1 to account 2 immediately after payday. The amount equals your total fixed monthly obligations: rent or mortgage, utilities, insurance, subscriptions, minimum debt payments, everything that has a set recurring cost. Account 3 is your wealth account. A second automatic transfer moves from account 1 to account 3, also immediately after payday. This is your savings and investment money, the amount you have committed to paying yourself first. What remains in account 1 after both transfers is your spending money. It is the only account you spend from. And because the bills are handled and the savings are handled, everything left is genuinely free to use, which eliminates both the guilt of spending and the anxiety of wondering if you can afford it. Here is the best way I can explain why this structure works so well. Imagine every payday, your paycheck arrives as a single bunch of bananas. Under the old system, you eat bananas whenever you feel like it and hope there are some left at the end of the month, and there never are. Under the new system, the moment that bunch arrives, you immediately put the first 20 into a locked container and set aside another pile specifically for your recurring costs. What is left in front of you is yours freely, and you are never confused about what you can afford. The amount that goes to your wealth account is the most important number in the system. The target range is 10% to 20% of your take-home pay. If you are new to this, start at 10% and automate it. You can increase it later, but starting low and automating is infinitely better than starting ambitious and quitting. On a take-home paycheck of $2,500, 10% is $250 per payday. If you get paid twice a month, that is $500 per month going to wealth building automatically. At a 7% annual return, $500 per month invested consistently for 25 years grows to approximately $405,000. That is not a lottery win or an inheritance. That is $250 per paycheck, automated, repeated consistently. And here is what happens when you increase that percentage as income grows. If you start at 10% and increase by just 1% every time you get a raise, the difference in your 30-year outcome compared to staying at 10% permanently can be $100,000 or more. The system makes this increase almost frictionless. You update one automatic transfer amount, and the new rate locks in for every future payday without any further action. The system is doing the work that most people think requires financial sophistication, and it requires almost none. Where does the wealth account money go? The priority order is, first, your 401k up to the full employer match, because that match is a 100% instant return that nothing else can compete with. Second, a high-yield savings account earning 4% to 5% in 2026 until you've got 3 to 6 months of expenses built up. Once the emergency fund is fully funded, the third destination is your Roth IRA up to the 2026 limit of $7,000 per year. After that, any remaining wealth account contributions go to a taxable brokerage account invested in low-cost index funds. The order matters because the tax advantages stack, and working through it in sequence maximizes your long-term outcome. Setting this up takes about 10 minutes, and here is exactly what you are doing in that time. Step 1. Open a second checking account at a different bank from your primary account if you do not already have one. Most online banks offer free checking with no minimums. This takes about 5 minutes. Step 2. Contact your employer and split your direct deposit. A fixed dollar amount goes to your wealth account each payday, your 10 to 20% target. The rest goes to your income account. Step 3. Set up automatic bill pay from your bills account. Log in to each recurring biller and set up auto pay from that account. This takes the remaining few minutes and eliminates the risk of a missed payment affecting your credit. That is the full setup. From this point forward, the system runs without your involvement. The only ongoing requirement is a brief weekly check-in, which takes 5 minutes and is worth every second. If you've made it this far, hit that like button and subscribe to Monkey Money. It genuinely helps us keep making content like this, and we really appreciate every one of you. Now let's talk about the weekly check-in and why it is the maintenance the system actually needs. Automation handles the structure. The weekly check-in handles the awareness. Once a week, pick a day that works for you, same day, every week. You spend 5 minutes looking at your spending account. You're checking one thing. Are you on track with discretionary spending, or have you overspent what the system allocated? This review is not about guilt or punishment. It is about catching drift before it becomes a problem. A single 5-minute check-in per week is enough to prevent the quiet overspending that erodes budgets over time. The weekly check-in also gives you one decision point per week to adjust the system if your situation has changed. Got a raise? Increase your wealth account transfer percentage before you get used to the extra income. Got a new fixed expense? Adjust the bills account transfer accordingly. This is one of the highest leverage moments in personal finance, the period immediately after a raise arrives. Most people adjust their lifestyle first and then try to increase savings later. The system flips this. The wealth account transfer increases first, and the lifestyle absorbs whatever remains. Do that consistently, and you are building wealth faster every time your income grows, rather than just maintaining the same savings rate on a higher income. Beyond those adjustments, the system asks almost nothing of you. That is the design. Removing decision fatigue from your financial life is not laziness. It is one of the most sophisticated financial moves you can make. Decision fatigue is real, and it is expensive. Research consistently shows that the quality of decisions degrades the more decisions a person makes in a given period. When you have to decide whether to save money every single payday, you are running that decision through a fatigued system. And the answer is often no. even when your intentions were yes. The 10-minute payday system removes that decision entirely. You do not decide to save this month. You already decided when you set up the automation. That single decision, made once, executes correctly every payday for the rest of the time the system is running. Here is what the 10-minute payday system produces over time, and I want to make this concrete with real numbers. Start at 30 years old, take-home income of $60,000 per year, automating 15% to your wealth account. That is $9,000 per year going to savings and investments automatically. At a 7% average annual return, $9,000 per year invested for 30 years grows to approximately $907,000. You are not a high earner in this scenario. You are not doing anything sophisticated. You're moving 15% of a $60,000 income on autopilot every year and letting compound interest do the rest. Now compare that to the person with the same income who saves manually, who intends to save 15% but actually saves closer to 5% because life keeps getting in the way. 5% of $60,000 per year for 30 years at 7% grows to approximately $302,000. The difference between automating 15% and manually attempting 15%, but landing on 5%, is approximately $605,000 at retirement. That gap is not the result of different incomes, different investment knowledge, or different market conditions. It is entirely the result of whether the savings happened automatically or depended on a monthly decision that kept not getting made. The system is the difference. I've said before that financial discipline is overrated as a strategy. You don't need to be disciplined every payday. You need to be disciplined once, the day you set up the automation. After that, you are the monkey who built a conveyor belt that drops bananas straight into the stash every single day, while everyone else is still carrying them over one at a time, wondering why their pile never quite gets there. The biggest underrated benefit of the 10-minute payday system is not the money it builds. It is the mental bandwidth it returns. Financial anxiety is exhausting. Constantly wondering whether you can afford something, whether you saved enough this month, whether you are on track. That cognitive load has a real cost. When the system is running, those questions answer themselves. You know your bills are covered, your savings are moving, and whatever is in your spending account is yours to use without second guessing. The 10-minute payday system works because it aligns the structure of your finances with how human behavior actually functions. People do not fail at saving because they do not want to save. They fail because they are relying on a monthly decision that has to compete with everything else in their life, and it keeps losing. Automation does not make you richer than a disciplined saver. It makes you as wealthy as you would be if you were disciplined, without requiring you to be disciplined every single month. That is what a well-designed system does. It produces the outcome you want, reliably, without depending on the best version of you showing up every time. Drop a comment and tell me, which part of this system are you setting up first? If this video helped you build a system you'll actually stick with, hit subscribe because every week we bring you financial frameworks that work for real people. See you next video.